Welcome back, World of Warcraft fans, to another episode of Casual Encounters. This is episode 7.2, and I'm still waiting for my 90 boost. Very disappointed in you, Blizzard. You said it wasn't going to be your trademark soon, and yet I think you lied. Oh well. You know, at least I got to get most of my timeless plate gear for my pally. Think, what am I just missing? Just missing my chest piece. Yeah, I'm still gonna need it to get a trinket. And oh, well, I might have a trick around the trinket. I think, what if I go into a red spec, I could probably get a decent trinket. If I take one of those timeless curios, if I make a red spec, I could probably get a useful one. Unless the 483 one is better for tanking than the 496. You know, we'll see. I'll bring it up and I'll create it and see what happens. We'll see what I get out of it. So yeah, that's interesting. But like I was able to I got all that stuff. So at least she'll be, you know, pretty much ready to go. What else? I got to waste some time. I went to farm some of the. I went to farm, you know, trying to get some of that Vanguard / Glorious / Lofty plate set, that really skimpy stuff. I managed to get one Vanguard breastplate so far. And it was weird. I went to where these bears are in Winterspring. First one, boom, killed it, and I got it. I killed probably 1,000 more after that, got nothing. Oh well, that's life. What else did I do? I did, me and a couple of friends, my wife, we did, 25-man heroic Onyxia. So that was, kind of a joke. 25-man Nax, kind of a joke. Did all kinds of achievements. So yeah, whatever. Passing the time. So more importantly today, I guess, I'm not even sure if I mentioned this in one of my other episodes, but if I did, sorry. If I didn't, good. There was some talk about Ian Huskostas, aka Watcher, did some interviews, and he mentioned that they're thinking about removing Valor and Justice points. I guess I got some mixed feelings about that. I like the idea that, you don't have to worry about getting this Valor cap. Just go do some dungeons, get your gear. You don't worry about upgrading and all, unless they have another way of upgrading. I'm not sure how they're going to deal with that. Maybe they're just going to take that away. I guess that's all going to go towards a philosophy of it drops, put it on, go. Right? Great, super, like it. I love it. Sounds good to me. So that's fine. I got no issues with that. Right now, as it is, as I mentioned in my last video, the Valor, what are we doing with Valor? We're just upgrading. We don't really need much of it. Unfortunately, that means that they're not going to have the get Valor to get those missing pieces of gear that you want, right? So, unfortunately, seems that option is not going to be there, which I feel is kind of sad. But they're going to try to make some improvements, I guess, on the bonus rolls. They're going to try to make it a more intelligent bonus roll, so that if 3 possible pieces of loot can drop for you on a certain boss and you already have that it won't drop for you. So that's great, because that's one of the biggest problems, I guess, with bonus rolls, is that you want that particular thing. I want this, and you bonus roll. Ooh, I want. That's not the piece I wanted. I already have it. Damn. So, and that was the great thing about the Valor, getting Valor and being able to buy what you want. You can get those pieces that you need. But if they fix this, good. Another thing also is that, you're going to be able to get a lot of gear from dungeons. So if it works the way it works now, you will be able to go at least once a day, if you have a piece in something in one of your heroic dungeons, you will be able to say, okay, I'm going to go in that dungeon, and I'm going to try to get that piece. And now usually heroics you only do once a day, but, you know, if you do random, you might get it again. So I guess you could technically continue to grind and try to get that gear you want. Now, my big concern is, as you know, right now, other than if you have a legendary cloak and you do Ordos, you're once a week, and then you do Celestials once a week, there's no other way to gear up other than just doing SOO. So if you're trying to gear up for around normals, you're doing flexes. If you're trying to gear up for flexes, you're doing whatever you're doing, you know. So again, as I mentioned before in other videos, it's just all SOO. And my concern with the way that they're going right now is if they get rid of the Valor system, and but you will be able to, you know, they're gonna, you know, make the bonus rolls better, super. You're gonna be able to get some good gear out of the heroics, super. But what happens when you get all the gear you need out of the heroics? What if you don't need any more? Then you're stuck. You're stuck doing the current raid tier and nothing else. Now, if you're short on time, good, you know, that's great. All you have to do is show up for raids and you're good to go. I mean, it's okay. It's just would be nice to do something, like I've mentioned before, it would be really, really nice to be able to do something other than SOO. Well, whatever the current raid tier is, whatever that current raid you're doing, it'd be nice to be able to do something else. And yeah, there's lots of other fun stuff you can do, like pet battles and all that stuff. But I'm talking about progression, right? You can't progress any other way other than the raid. Which can be good because it means you can spend all your time. But again, most people only have specific raid nights. So then what do you do when you're off time? You know, what can you do to improve your character? You're going to do alts? You're going to do... I don't know. It's tough. It is. It's a really tough. I mean, it's nice in a way because you don't have to worry about anything else. You can just focus on the raid content. That's really good. But at the same time, you don't just want to do that. And, you know, and if your concern is, you know, just gearing up for progression, and you want to do more than just the raid itself, then it sounds like you're going to kind of be out of luck, you know, other than the, you know, that once a week world boss or whatever, and that's about it, you know. I mean, I don't know, it's tricky. I guess there's no perfect solution, but I always felt that the Valor system that they had before was really, really good. You go, you get Valor, you know, you can run even though you can't get anything out of those heroic dungeons, at least there's a reason to do them. There's a light, you know, you get to fill in that thing you want, you look for, you say, I know if I do this many of these dungeons and I get this much Valor, and I know that I'm going to be able to, if I don't get a drop for this slot, I'm going to be able to go buy it in 1.5 weeks or 2.5, whatever, right? You know you're going to be able to. You're not depending on a bonus roll. You're not depending on any RNG. It's all boom. You know you're going to get it. And when luck is your only way to get gear, for some reason, sometimes that could be great. You can be the luckiest person in the world and get everything you need. Other times, man, you're getting a drought and terrible. Terrible. And I think that Valor system that they had, being able to buy gear with the Valor, it at least gave you that, you know, you were going to get something at the end of it. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll find a way to make it interesting, and I guess, you know, maybe there'll be fun with garrisons, and maybe they'll have some other fun stuff to do other than just raid. I don't know. I mean, obviously at the beginning of the expansion, it's not going to be an issue. You're going to quest. You're going to have, you know, the heroic dungeons are supposed to be pretty difficult, so you'll be progressing through that. You know, it'll be fun. It's just once all that's done, I mean, once you get through those heroics and you've done them and you got all the pieces you need from them, hopefully there'll be a reason to do something else. let's just hope. We don't know. There's so much. There's a lot of time before the beta's not even out yet. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what kind of, stuff you're going to be doing in garrisons. How fun that's going to be. How interesting that'll be. Or if they'll bring something else in that you could do. We don't know. We just don't know. So hopefully they're going to find fun and interesting ways to play. Because I think if you just sit there and just do the raid. Well, another good thing, I guess, too, is that they're going to be making more better effort of putting the raids into wings. So I guess that's kind of good, because that way you're not just going to be slamming your head against one boss and stuck in one place. If that happens, excuse me, you could just say, okay, let's go over there and let's try this other wing. We'll do this other boss. That's great. I think that's a really, really good idea. I like the idea of splitting things into wings. Separating the raids so that you remember, like, I think it was, what was that one? We had one tier a while back, and you had that, oh man, I think it was in Canada actually, and you had that one place you go in. It was in the Vortex. It was near Vortex Pinnacle. I can't remember the exact name of the raid, but you went in there and you got those 3 guys, and then you killed them and you fought the boss. But then there was some other raid tiers, it was the same tier, but you had you could do different raids, which was kind of cool. The Bastion of Twilight and all that stuff. That was cool because you could try some different raids. At least it's not right now. It's all SOO. It's all you can do, and it's linear. So it's like yes, and flex is good because you can do different wings, right? But if you're going normal, it's starting at 1, starting at 1, you always got to start back at 1, which is okay, because if you need gear from them, that's great. But if you don't, Alduar was actually kind of cool too, because you could go in one. You get to get past that first boss, and then the second once you pass that, there were 3 bosses, but you only had to kill one of them. Those 2 other ones on the sides, the Molten Guy and the Drake or whatever the heck it was, you didn't have to do them. I mean, it's sure, when you're progressing and you need gear, great. But if not, you go kill XT and you move on. I think there was, and then when you got past another part, you go kill Karagon, and then you can get into that next area, and you can go through, and you had all these options of killing other bosses, but you didn't have to. So that was cool too. It gave you options. It gave you different things to try, different things to do. It was really, really cool. This linear thing is kind of boring. It's not fun. I just don't find it fun. You just, you get stuck. You're stuck, ugh. So this optional boss stuff, this, or you get a key of something and then you can skip certain parts. That's great, because then you can, you don't always got to go through that whole linear process. Even Ice Crown, you were able to go around and do this and do that. Bastion of Twilight, you can do things in different orders. That's great. That's fun. Hopefully they're going to do a lot more of that. I really, really like that idea. I like splitting the raids up in certain ways so you don't have this linear thing. It's kind of boring. So it's all about having choices and being able to do different content. I think that's where the fun of the game is, because otherwise, look, everybody complain, right? That's the whole fun of World of Warcraft, right? This whole open world concept where you don't have to follow this line. Everybody complains about linear questing. Everybody hates the thought of linear questing. Every time there's a linear quest chain comes along, everyone's like, ew, it's so linear, it's boring. So why would we want the same for our raids? Yeah, it might be great for world first races when everybody knows where everybody is, but come on, that's like tiny percent of the population. We can't cater to that, right? They still have an interest. It's still actually, even then, even for first world races, it makes it more interesting in a way, because now you don't really know, ooh, or that you know, they could figure out which boss is easier and get loot from it, and then makes it easier to kill the next boss, and that makes it more strategic for world first race, and it gives and it kind of gives like guilds like that opportunity to like, oh, let's go, you know, no one's working on that boss, let's go get, we'll get world first on at least that boss, something like that, you know. So I think even for world first it could be interesting, because it gives people, more guilds, opportunities to get world first on certain bosses. Now obviously if you're like number one, if you're method, maybe you won't like that, because usually you're going to want to get all the world first, but hey, that's life. You got to make it interesting for everybody. You got to make it more fun. The more people that can have fun, the better. You know, that's so with more choices, more it's just good. It's all good. So yeah, that's my take on all that, and I hope that, you know, they give us choices. That it's always a good thing. So let's hope Warlords of Draenor goes in that right direction, and if, like I said, if they're going to take away the valor and the justice, and you know, at least let us raid different bosses if we want to. Like, give us the choice, so that we're not just always doing exactly the same thing when we come into play, because that's just not fun. And you know, depending on your group, maybe one day you'll have one group that could take out that boss, and another day you might have a group that might take out that boss. You know, as a casual guild, that's what we are, right? We're not always going to have the same comp, because, you know, we might have this guy on that night and this guy on the other night. So hey, more choices, always more choices, always the best way to go, always the best way to go. It makes it more fun and more interesting. So Blizzard, listen up, do it that way, and give me my level 90 boost. Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.